they were so excited they came in before I left. Right. Oh, we're on. Okay. Yes, they say I'm the man who needs no introduction, so they don't give me one. Okay. Well, for those who are new tonight, last night we did Samson, and we left a little bit off at the end, so we're just going to wrap up the Samson talk, and then we're going to do just a couple wow kind of things that I found in the Bible, and then we're going to look at pictures of some of my trips. They're mission trips, so. Okay, ready, steady, go. Yesterday we talked, and we went through the three women in Samson's life. Remember, first he married this woman, and when he did the whole tie the fox's tails together and set them on fire, and the Philistines got upset, and they went and they burned his wife and her father's house. Okay, so wife number one's gone. Then he went to Timnah, and he met a harlot, and then he met Delilah. So each of these women have, I'm thinking, some prophetic significance to who they are and how they fit in, and that's what we saved until today. So we're going to talk about that. So first let's talk about the wife. Who is Samson's wife prophetically? And by the way, these are going to be on YouTube tonight. So you can take all the pictures you want. How's my hair? And I'm going to get one next week. Okay, Samson is a Yeshua type. Right? There's a whole bunch of them in the Old Testament. Adam is a Jesus type. Isaac is a Jesus type. Moses, huge Jesus type. But Samson is also a Jesus type in a lot of ways. And so we're going to see that. Okay, in Judges 14 it says, "Then Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother, and came as far as the vineyards of Timnah, and behold, a young lion came roaring toward him. So he came back and told his father and mother, I saw a woman in Timnah, one of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me as a wife." So this is who this wife is. All right? And we have here a picture of, we have Manoah. Manoah was the father of Samson. And his wife. Does she have a name? No. And then Samson. So you have a father, and you have a mother, and you have a son. Okay? Next. Well, that kind of gets in my brain a complex unity, a Trinity picture. Okay? It's not a complex unity. God is a complex unity. But this is a family unit. Father, mother, son. Next. And that should at least ring a little bell. Maybe, this is just in my brain, I don't know if this works or not, but Manoah is the father, and Samson is the son, and whoever the mother is, in the complex unity, the Holy Spirit is a feminine word. The word ruach is a feminine word. I don't think the Holy Spirit is a woman. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a feminine side or quality about the Holy Spirit. Okay? So you can kind of see this maybe picture here. Okay? Next. His mother and father said to him, "Is there no woman among your daughters for your relatives, or your relatives of your relatives, or among our people, that you may take for a wife?" Remember, God is up in heaven for eternity past, and he decides he wants to make man. Why? There's a bunch of reasons. One, he can. I think he wanted a family. That's just a nice picture. He wanted worship, right? And the love that comes with the worship. And with the angels, you're not really getting that because they're not the same. They don't have the free will like we do. Or do they? Satan had it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Satan chose to leave, and God says, I'll give somebody free will and let them decide, and they will choose to be with me. Okay, next. His mother and father did not know it was of the Lord, because he was seeking an occasion against the Philistines. If you notice all week, anytime I put Philistines, I put it in this green. This green, in my talks, and I don't think we've talked about Antichrist at all this week, but Antichrist is this green. And anybody who's antichristic in the Bible is that green. When we talked about Nimrod, he gets that color. When we talked about Haman, he gets that color. These are all antichrist characters. King Herod is an antichrist character, okay, or type. Does it? Well, it makes sense. Yeah, it's one of the horses. Goliath gets this color. And Goliath was a Philistine, so he gets this color green. So this almost does tie in with what he says, even, that he wanted an occasion against the Philistines. Philistines, Antichrist character, Satan, devil, right? And he's going to prove, I'm going to choose a wife, or I'm going to get a wife who will love me. And God wanted this family, okay? And behold, a young lion came roaring toward him. Okay, so a young lion. Where else have we heard in the Bible about a lion? Who's compared to a lion? Next. 1 Peter 5:8 says, be sober of spirit and be on alert, for your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking to devour. So this really is tying in more to what Preacher Man says, right? So God is going to prove that I am going to make a man to be my spouse. And he will prove to the roaring lion that's going to attack. Is this making sense? Okay. It'll make more sense at the end. Not this part. The end will make more sense. Okay, next. So he went down and talked to the woman, and she looked good to Samson. Okay. Picture this. You have the first Adam. And what happened to the first Adam? He chose to eat the apple, or the fig, or whatever it is. And what happened to him? Death. What happened to Samson's first wife? She died. Okay? He died spiritually, and he died physically eventually. Okay? And his wife, Hava, next, her punishment was she had trouble giving new life. Okay? Next, you have the last Adam, which is Yeshua, Jesus. His bride is mankind. He, next, conquers death, and mankind offers new life. Or he offers new life to mankind. Okay? So I think Samson's first wife is man in the big prophetic picture. God wanted a spouse, and he makes this person, but she ends up dying. Who is she? She's man, right? So then he has to pick another. Well, then it's going to move to Samson's second woman. Next. Here it is. The first man became a living soul. The last Adam, a life-giving spirit. However, the spiritual is not first, but the natural, then the spiritual. Let's go to the next one. Remember, there is a spiritual and a physical that goes on throughout. Because when he made man, there's the physical and the spiritual. You see it in Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God made the heavens, the spiritual, and the earth, the physical. Okay? Next. By the way, the heavens and the earth, there's no word in Hebrew for universe. That is the totality of everything whenever you hear heavens and the earth. All right? And we see this spiritual and physical in this verse, and we've done this verse a million times here, but we're going to do it again because it's so good. Then God said, let us, these plural pronouns he's talking, because he's a complex unity, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. When he says our image and our likeness, it sounds like he's repeating himself. It sounds like he's repeating himself. What's the difference between image and likeness? Well, in Hebrew, or in English, nothing. In Hebrew, there are two completely different words, and I have them both here. Betzomenu, the ba in front, that's in. The enu at the end is our. This is the key word in the middle, sal. Sal is like a shadow or a phantom, a spiritual side. Okay? And then, according to our likeness, kidmatenu, the ki, that's two. The enu is still our. And if you have this part, the dam. Dam is the Hebrew word for blood. That's the physical. So when he made us, Betzomenu, Kidmatenu, we are in his spiritual image. We are in his physical image. But there's two, you understand? This is why Jesus said to Nicodemus, you must be born again. Right? You had the physical birth, and you have to be reborn into the spiritual. And it kind of parallels with the heavens and the earth. There's a lot of these parallels where there's the two, physical and spiritual. Okay. Next. Oh, and by the way, this, I don't know how much Hebrew the new people know, but his name, Yahweh, Jehovah, we don't know how to say it exactly, but it's a Yud, a Hey, and a Vav, and a Hey. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. If we write his name vertically, notice the Yud is like a head, then you have a Hey, which is two arms, then you have the Vav, which is the body, and then you have a Hey, which is two legs. We are actually in his image according to his name. That's kind of clever. No, it's very clever. Point. Next. Look at me giving God points. Who am I to give him a point? So the wife is man. And the man screwed up and died, just like Samson's first wife. So then, who? Yes. Oh, yeah. And mankind will be thrown into hell and burned up in a fire. The second woman in his life is the harlot. Next. Okay, so Samson went to Gaza and saw a harlot there, and he went into her. So who is the harlot? Well, I think here now God is now going to actually choose a people, his chosen people, right? Next. And what do we know about the chosen people? We're talking about Jews. Jeremiah 3:8, and I saw that for all the adulteries of faithless Israel, I had sent her away and given her a writ of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah did not fear, but she went and was a harlot also. So Israel is oftentimes referred to as a harlot, and this kind of follows the picture, right? God wants this relationship with his bride. He tried with man, didn't work. He tried it with a specific group of people, but they turned out to be a harlot and cheated on him. Hosea, I'll go back one. Sorry, he's not going to cut it. Go back. It's your group. There we go. Just another example, Hosea, do not rejoice, O Israel, with exultation like the nations, for you have played the harlot, forsaking your God. You have loved harlots' earnings on every threshing floor. So There's multiple verses alluding to Israel being the harlot. Okay. So with Samson, he went down to Gaza. Yeshua, he is the light of men. The light shines in the darkness. Here, it was at night he went to the harlot. Here, Jesus is the light. Next. John 1:11, he came to his own, and those who were his did not receive him. Again, a picture of the harlotry there. With Samson, he went to the harlot. In Matthew 15, Jesus, you hypocrites, rightly did Isaiah prophesy of you. This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching his doctrines, the precepts of men. So there's plenty of examples of Israel being the harlot. Okay? When it was told to the Gazites, saying, Samson has come here, they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the gate of the city. They kept silent all night, saying, let us wait until morning light, then we will kill him. Next. Oh, well, I have a slide for the other half. But the other half was, remember he said, maybe it is better. No, the verse I'm thinking of is, it is expedite if one man should die for the, yeah, right. So you have, that's the verse that probably should have been there then on that one. Because with Samson, they all were gathering around, we need to kill him, and that's what the same thing that the Jews said. It would, what is it? It's not, it would be expedient that one man die for the others. Yes, Samson carried the gates of the city up the hill, right? So the big wooden gates, carrying the wood up the hill. There's pictures there. Okay, now Delilah. This is the one we all were waiting for. Who's Delilah? I think the church is Delilah. It's, first of all, it is Samson's true love. Was she perfect? No. She had problems. Do we have problems? I mean, do y'all? I don't. But no. And Carolyn, Carolyn's near perfect because she's near me. Okay, next. Well, it came about that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek whose name was Delilah. What did we say about Sorek? Sorek means the choicest vine. So that would be the true, pure love, right? That would be the ultimate that he's looking for. And next, and Delilah means low and languishing. And that sounds like us, right? Okay? Right. Yeah. Right. Yes, and Jesus came to his own, and they didn't accept him, so he went where he wasn't supposed to look. Okay, so now you have Delilah is going to tempt Samson. So Delilah said to Samson, tell me where your great strength is, and they bind me with 7 fresh cords that have not been dried. I'll be weak like any other man. So there's temptation 1. Next. You have deceived me. And he said, if they bind me tightly with new ropes, which have not been used, then I will be weak as water. Temptation 2. Next. Then Delilah says, you've deceived me and told me lies. And he said, if you weave 7 locks of my hair with the web, then I'll be weak like any other man. 3 temptations. Well, that should ring a bell. Okay. But you're thinking, well, wait a minute. Wasn't there a fourth? Because she actually comes back a fourth time, right? And says, 3 times you've lied to me. Because then in the 4th time, okay, next, we'll get that in a second. Well, we know with Yeshua Jesus, there were 3 temptations. He's out in the wilderness. Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan, led in the Spirit by the wilderness 40 days, tempted by the devil. Devil said, if you are the Son of God, tell this stone to become bread. Jesus answered, Deuteronomy, man shall not live by bread alone. This is lust of the flesh. Right? That looks good. Food. Okay, next. Then he took him up on the mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world. Devil said, I'll give you all this domain and its glory, for it has been handed over to me, and I will give it to whomever I wish. Therefore, if you worship before me, it shall be yours. Temptation 2. Jesus answered, it is written, from Deuteronomy. He always quotes Deuteronomy in his responses here. You shall worship the Lord your God and serve him only. This is lust of the eyes. Look at all this. It's all yours, Jesus, if you'd like it. Okay? You know what? It's interesting that Jesus did not say, I'm sorry, but it's not yours to give. Which, you know, if I say, hey, you want to buy the Brooklyn Bridge? I'll sell it to you for $20. Your first response is, you don't own the Brooklyn Bridge. But Jesus didn't come back with that. Because whenever they took the bite, Satan got the deed. Okay? And Jesus is going to get it back. So there's temptation 2. Next. And then he led him to Jerusalem and had him stand on the pinnacle of the temple and said, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you to guard you. And this is Satan quoting the Bible. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you to guard you, and on their hands they will bear you up so that you will not strike your foot against the stone. That's the pride of life. Why don't you go up on that temple and jump off and show everybody? Because it'll be so cool. Before you hit the ground, the angels will come and swoop you up. Right? That's a kind of a pride thing. And Jesus answered, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. When the devil had finished every temptation, he left him until an opportune time. Notice the devil gets the darker green. Antichrist gets the light green. This is my brain does these. Okay. Next. Now, what about temptation 4? This is Delilah said to him, how can you say I love you when your heart is not with me? You have deceived me these 3 times and have not told me where your great strength lies. It came about when she pressed him daily and urged him that his soul was annoyed to death, and that's when he finally told her the truth. But there is a 4th temptation here, right? Well, Jesus only had the 3 temptations. So if there's a parallel, there should be a 4th temptation. Next. So then, that's when Samson then told her all that was in his heart. A razor's never come to my head, and you shave my head, I'll be weak. All right, next. And when Jesus was hanging on the cross, those passing by were hurling abuse at him, wagging their heads and saying, you who are going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from that cross. I think this is that 4th temptation that matches up with Samson being, okay, which adds more credibility to us being Delilah, the true love. Okay. Next. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all that was in his heart, he sent and called the Lord to the Philistines, saying, come at once, for he has told me all that was in his heart. Then the Lord, the Philistine, came up to her and brought the money in their hands. She made him sleep on her knees and called for a man and had him shave off 7 locks of his hair. Then she began to afflict him, and his strength left him. Next. She said, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. And he awoke from his sleep and said, I will go out as other times and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. Then the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes. They brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze chains, and he was a grinder in the prison For those who weren't here yesterday, I'll tell you. Samson in Hebrew is Shimshon. Okay? Shimshon is spelled Shin, Mem, Shin, Vav, Nun. The first three letters, Shin, Mem, Shin, spell Shemesh. Shemesh is the sun. So Shimshon has the word sun in it, sunshine. Hey, sunshine. I can see a mother, that'd be his nickname. Delilah has the word Lila in it. Lila we see in Genesis 1:5, and God called the light day, and the choshek, the darkness, he called Lila. Nighttime is Lila. And what happens when the sunshine goes to the nighttime? You can't see. And what happened to Samson? They poked his eyes out, and he can't see. We miss all these clever, punny things when it's in English, right? And only in the Hebrew do you see these. Every name, every rock, every color, every number has a deeper meaning if you learn it in the Hebrew. And that's, I think, what the church, that's what we're learning. That's what we're figuring out. Oh, my goodness, we should be studying all this in Hebrew, you know? And people ask me, what version should I read? Should I read NAS or NIV? Or I said, learn the Hebrew, because all the other ones are off. Yes. I'm sure there is. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And not, Jesus wasn't blind, but he did pray for their, that they will see. Forgive them. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There's endless parallels in every one of these stories. All right. And this one, remember yesterday I said in the verse 21, they gouged out his eyes, that's a blinding, and they bound him, that's a binding, and then they put chains and he was a grinding. There's a blinding, a binding, and a grinding in that verse. What? However, the hair of his head began to grow again after it was shaved off. Now the lords of the Philistines assembled to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god, and to rejoice, for they said, our God has given Samson, our enemy, into our hands. When the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, our God has given our enemy into our hands, even the destroyer of our country, who has slain many of us. Okay? So it happened when they were in high spirits, they called for Samson that he may amuse them. So they called from Samson from the prison, and he entertained them, and they made him stand between the pillars. So here he is at the Dagon temple. Isn't that what they call it? Isn't that what it was? So they got Samson here at the temple. All right, next. And Pilate, wanting to release Jesus, addressed them again, but they kept calling out, crucify him, just like they were doing with Samson. Bring him out to amuse us. Next. They made him stand between the pillars. Next. We already read that one again. And Samson grasped the two middle pillars on which the house rested and braced himself against them, the one with his right hand, the other with his left. I think Yeshua Jesus also is going to, he even said, tear down this temple and I'll rebuild it, right? So he's tearing down temples, okay, even though his temple was his body. But also the temple that Jesus is tearing down is legalism and the priesthood, or the law, right, and the priesthood. Those are the two things that the Jews, that's the whole rabbinical or Pharisaical Judaism was based on, right? So Jesus is also going to be knocking down a temple spiritually. We have physical and spiritual. Yeah. Yes. The blood on the doors. That's also a kind of a picture there of that. And you see my Yahweh with his little arms up. That took about half a day to figure that out. Okay, next. And next. For when the priesthood is changed of necessity, there takes place a change of law also. So Jesus becomes our high priest. Notice. Okay. All right. Next. And Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." And he bent with all his might so that the house fell on the Lord's and all the people who were in it. So the dead whom he killed at his death were more than those whom he killed in his life. The Jews, this is in John, the Jews then said to him, "What sign do you show us for your authority of doing these things?" Jesus said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." So we also have a destruction of a temple here. The Jews said, "It took 46 years to build this temple, and you will raise it up in 3 days." But he was speaking of the temple of his body. Go back 2 slides. There's a going back fee we're going to have to charge you. Right there? Okay. Ooh. Yeah. Now, Jesus killed none in his life, but because of his death. Yeah. Remember, I told you that all these talks, some of them aren't finished. And the Samson talk is one of them. This is what I'm working on for the finish. And I'm going to steal all these comments and finish it. Because I film them eventually, but I don't film them until I work them out, you know. We open in Hartford, and then we take the show to Broadway later. And then it becomes the movie. Okay? Well, you owe me one for going back. All right. Okay, next. This is interesting. Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." So Samson is dying voluntarily. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life so that I may take it again. And I see Yeshua doing the same. There's a voluntarily. All right, next. He was pierced through for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. This is just the same thing that he volunteered for all this. The chastening of our well-being fell upon him, and by his scourging we are healed. Okay, next. Then his brothers and all his father's household came down, took him, and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of Manoah, his father. Thus he had judged Israel 20 years. So he was in the tomb of his father. Manoah means rest. All right. Next. And Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." So they both end up, we end up with rest. Next. His brothers and father's household came and took him and buried him. Next. Now, Joseph of Arimathea came, a prominent member of the council who himself was waiting for the kingdom of God, and he gathered up the courage and went in before Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. So you had somebody else coming who was concerned to bury them. Okay? And what was the story? Maybe I've told it before. This is not in the Bible. It's in extra biblical sources. But I don't know if you've been to Jerusalem, but behind the bus station across the street is Golgotha. And then there's that garden tomb. Okay, so it's a beautiful garden, and there's that whole concrete wall, rock wall there, and a freshly hewn tomb. I mean, you can't get a better location for a tomb right across the street from the old city. I mean, this thing's got to be worth some money, you know. And Joseph of Arimathea goes to Pilate and says, "May I have the body of Jesus? I have a freshly hewn tomb right there." And Pilate said, "Why would you give that expensive tomb to this common criminal?" And Joseph of Arimathea said, "It's just for the weekend." Okay, next. You're going to love this one. Because it's the last slide. No, that's not the only reason. Thus, Samson judged Israel 20 years. Next. You know, in Revelation it says, "Blessed and holy is the one who has a part in the first resurrection. Over these the second death has no power, but they will be priests of God and of Christ and will reign with him for 1,000 years." Samson ruled for 20 years. Jesus is going to rule for 1,000 years. Next, please. Remember, God doesn't work in minutes and seconds, although he can, but he deals in Jubilee years. A Jubilee year is 50-year period. So Samson ruled for 20 years. Jesus is going to rule and reign for 20 years. 20 Jubilee years, which is 1,000 years. So those kind of equate and point to that same picture. Okay? Was it, remember, it's back in Genesis, I'm going to say 6:4. And it says, let me look up Genesis 6:4. Most people remember the verse and not where it's found. I remember where it's found, and I can't remember the verse. No, that's not it. I don't remember either one then, do I? That's not what I'm looking for. It is not man is not appointed. A man will not strive forever. I will limit his days to 120 years. 6:3. Okay, so yeah, man is not supposed to. God's Spirit's not going to abide with man forever. So I'm going to limit his years to 120. And we think, well, 120. If he made that promise in 6:3 of Genesis, Noah is after that promise, and he lived 800 years. Abraham lived 175 years, and he's way after that. So how can God say man's going to live 120 years, and then you have people living more than 120 years? Joshua lived 110 years. Okay? Take the Jubilees. It's 50 years. When God said man's going to live for 120 years, he's talking about 120 Jubilees. 6,000 years, which is 4,000 from Adam to Jesus. It's 2,000 from Jesus to today. There's 6,000 years. And then there's going to be the 1,000 years, the 20 years that Samson rules, the 1,000-year reign of Christ. And a day is like 1,000 years, so you end up having 7,000 years total, which is 7 days. God has set aside a godly week for this whole man thing. Right? All right. Next. I think this concludes the Samson talk. Yes, there's a blank screen. And now I just have 3 little fun things to throw in. And then we're going to cut the live stream after these 3 things. Then it takes 5 minutes to set it back up. And we're going to live stream again, but it's not going to be put on YouTube because it's going to be a lot of photographs of mission trips in countries that don't really want me there. And there'll be pictures of people who have accepted and they don't want to be broadcast on YouTube and have their government or anybody find, even their neighbor, to find out. So, all right, next. How to obtain eternal life. This is important. Right? All right. Next. The Torah says in Proverbs 7:2, keep my commandments and live, and my teaching is the apple of your eye. Okay, and we know that there are 613 commandments. So, okay, that's one way to obtain eternal life. Problem is, we've all failed at this one already. Okay? And plus, it's too many to remember. I actually have a video, my Moses video. Moses Part 5, at the end, we scroll all 613 of the laws. And when I was putting it together, it gave me opportunity to read them all, you know. And there's just some that are just so, like, oh my goodness, I broke that one, I broke that one, I broke that one. Some are very Levitical, and only the priests could do it, but could break them because it just applies to them. But there's a lot of things to keep juggling and remembering, and I can't do that. All right, so we got to find a shorter way than this. Next. David boiled it down to 11. Well, that's better than 613. Oh, Lord, who may abide in your tent? That's what we want to do, don't we? We want to abide in the Lord's tent. Who may dwell on your holy hill? He who walks with integrity and works righteousness and speaks truth in his heart. He does not slander with his tongue, nor does evil to his neighbor, nor take up a reproach against a friend, in whose eyes the reprobate is despised, but who honors those who fear Yahweh. He swears to his own hurt and does not change. He does not put out his money at interest. I've already lost on that one. He does not, nor does he take a bribe against the innocent. He who does these things will never be shaken. Well, we got it down to 11, but it's still a complicated list, and I've already failed because of number 10. All right, so if we can get it down anymore, let's go to the next slide. Oh, Micah gets it down to 3. I can handle 3. Yeah, right. He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does Yahweh require of you? But to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Getting better, right? Easier. All right. Do justice. David, even his 11, that's a lot of words to remember and decipher and live. But this is do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. This is almost attainable, okay, at least in my brain, not my living. Next. Amos. Why is that in there? It shouldn't be in there. No, let's go to the next one. Yeah, Isaiah. Isaiah gets it down to 2. Thus says Yahweh, preserve justice and do righteousness. For my salvation is about to come and my righteousness to be revealed. Well, that's much cleaner, isn't it? preserve justice, and do righteousness. Boy, there was not much justice if you watched any TV this past week. Okay. Okay, we're down to 2. Can anyone name that tune in 1? Yes, Habakkuk can do it. Habakkuk says, the righteous shall live by faith. And isn't it? It's by grace we are saved through faith. Right? This is the verse that caused Martin Luther to break away from the Catholic Church. When he read this verse, that's salvation through faith. Isn't that nice? Because God's not going to let us into heaven unless we're righteous. Well, how do we become righteous? It's not by all these works. It says the righteous will live by faith. And what did, was it, it's, no, this I know. Genesis 15:6. That's right. Genesis 15:6. And Abram believed God, and God credited it to him or counted it to him as righteousness. What did he have to do? Believe. Faith. Whew. This one I can do. And it's much easier and than trying to do the 613 or the 11 or the 3 or the 2. This one is easy. Not, well, yeah, it's much easier, right? Okay. What was that? Someone, I heard an example. Imagine you have these 2 books. One book is The Life of John Kostik, a true page-turner. And the other one is The Life of Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus, his book is just perfect. There's just perfect. My book is full of sin and corruption and food and all kind of bad stuff, okay? So, when you have the faith and you accept Christ, what he does is he takes the covers off those 2 books and switches them. So now when you open up the book of John Kostik, it's all pure and clean and perfect. So God's going to say, oh, come on in. And Jesus put his covering over my book. And God doesn't check his, he already knows he's a good guy. Jesus, he's not going to look at his book. That's a nice way of picturing it. Okay? All right. So this is one of the 3 little extra things, because that's an important thing. Make sure it's by faith that you're getting to heaven, because there ain't other way. Next. Okay, now this is just a little bit of math here for Nate, and if you like the Hebrew stuff. God has a letter. His letter is Aleph. It's the first letter. It makes sense. Aleph is the head of the ox, strength, God's letter. And Aleph is also a word. Okay, here's the letter, Aleph. But how do you spell Aleph? You spell it Aleph, Lamed, Pei. And every Hebrew letter has a number associated with it. Aleph is 1, Lamed is 30, Pei is 80. Next. Which adds up to 111, which also then points to his complex unity. Right? Very clever. All this, how this all works. Okay, next. Now that's his letter. God also has a name. His name is Yahweh, which we spell Yud, He, Vav, He. And every one of those letters has a meaning. The Yud is a hand. You can see a hand. It has an elbow with the thumb sticking up and a hand. There's the ancient Yod. It's the Y sound. Yod is hand. Hey. Hey is a little man with his hand in the air. Hey. Wow. A revelation. A blessing. Something is coming. Something big. That's hey. Make sense? Vav is the Hebrew word for nail. Hey, Moshe, throw me a vav. Look out. A nail is coming. And then he has another hey. Another, behold, a revelation, grace. Something big is coming. Okay? If hey is grace, and that's a good word for it too, is grace. Notice he's got two hays. He's full of grace. And if you put them together, the hand reveals, the nail reveals. If he's God, and he didn't see that, you know, how do the Jews miss that? You know, who's Yahweh? Who is Yahweh? The hand reveals, the nail reveals. Okay, so that's his name. And by the way, sometimes he doesn't go by just Yahweh. Sometimes, Bob, was your name on your birth certificate Robert? As far as you know, it's been a long time since you've seen it. But people named Robert are sometimes called Bob. And Yahweh is sometimes called Yah. His close friends call him this. Yes? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yep, he's very clever. All right, next. Now, his name, Yah, I'm going to put the gematria values in. Yud is 10, Hey is 5, so Yah adds up to 15. And Yahweh, there's 10 and 5 and 6 and 5, which adds up to 26. Any problem with what I'm doing yet? You all are with me. Even those who don't know Hebrew, you can figure this, you can follow, yes? All right, next. Now, God also has a title. He had a letter, Aleph. He has a name, Yahweh. And he has a title. He has many titles. This is one of them. Elohim. This is his power title. This is the one, Bereshit bara Elohim. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This is the title he's using when he's creating heavens and earth. Elohim is Aleph, which is strength, Lamed, which is shepherd's crook. Hey is a revelation. We already covered Hey. Yod, we said, was hand. And Mem, its picture is water. You can see water, up, down, up, down, up, down. Right? The ancient picture. These are the ancient pictures. So, his Elohim, he is the strong shepherd who reveals his hand on the seas. It's his power title. God can control the seas. And he's woven that into the picture, to his title, right? And just like Yahweh can be shortened to Yah, Elohim is oftentimes shortened to El, which that encapsulates it all too. What's El? The strong shepherd. And we are the dumb sheep. Don't forget the word dumb. The dumb sheep. And he is the strong shepherd. Okay? And I told you this the other night, and I'm going to tell it again for those who aren't here and those who didn't hear me the other night. But you have Psalm 23. You know this one? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leads me beside still waters. Watch this. Go back. What's Aleph? It's strong, but it's also God's letter, right? This is the Lord. Lamed is my shepherd. Hey, behold, revelations, blessings are coming. I shall not want. He, Yod, he leads me beside still Mem. He's woven his title into Psalm 23. Very clever. Okay, next. Now, God's title is take the gematria. The gematria of El, Aleph is 1, Lamed is 30, El is 31. Elohim, Aleph is 1, Lamed 30, Hey 5, 10, 40, adds up to 70, 85, 86 is Elohim. Are we good? Okay. Next. So, his letter is Aleph. His name is either Yah or Yahweh, which is 15 or 26. His title is El or Elohim, which is either 31 or 86. We good? Okay, get ready for the goosebumps. Next. Oh, okay. I have, this is next. Notice I had all four of these pointing into Aleph. Aleph is Yah. Aleph is Yahweh. Aleph is El, and Aleph is Elohim. You going, okay, so how do you know that? Next. Genesis 1:1. Bereshit, bara Elohim, et. That is the 15th letter of the Bible. The 15th letter of the Bible is an Aleph. Hashemayim va'et haaretz. Haaretz, that's the 26th letter of the Bible. Next. V'haaretz, that's the 31st letter of the Bible. And the earth was tohu v'bohu, and the Hoshek, and the darkness was over, Panai, face, Tehom of the deep, and the Ruach Elohim, and the Spirit of God fluttered over the face of the waters, Hamam, Hamayim. Next, got to go to verse 3. Ah, good. Vayomer Elohim, that's the 86th letter of the Bible. Isn't that clever? Coincidence? I don't think. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Or Vayor, but be light, and there was light. So those are little things that I find. I really don't know what to do with them, but it ate up 10 minutes here. And it wows us, doesn't it? I mean, it's just, wow. Okay, so it kind of shows you the importance of Aleph. Okay, one more. Next. You know, I put these videos out. Those who new here, these four, have you seen any of my videos? Or even, you have? Oh, okay. People write to me after watching these videos. I get lots of writings. This one I got recently. I took the guy's name out. Mr. Kostik, don't know of you still, I don't know if you still utilize this channel or check comments, but I wanted to drop you a thank you. I identify as agnostic, as I don't know which religion is true or accurate, and I'm on a quest to learn as much truth as possible so I can understand my own place in this creation and purpose. But lately I've been very interested in learning ancient Hebrew, to learn enough to read the Old Testament Torah in the original language. It was penned in. He doesn't really believe in punctuation. So to sidestep the fallacies that are introduction by translation, learning the first letters supposedly telling of the entirety of Jesus' life amazes me. Thanks for the video. Keep growing and learning, sir. And I wrote back, you made my day. Thank you. I don't write back because there's so many of them come in, but sometimes I do try to read them all, and sometimes I get moved and I want to write. Okay, make sure that isn't you. It's got a beard. But it's kind of cool when you get those. Oh, that's right. All right, I was looking at the beard. Give it a pull, make sure it's not a toupee. Very little. Yeah. Jews will write occasionally and write, bar does not mean son. Bar is Aramaic, it's not Hebrew. To which I usually respond, bar mitzvah. Stop using it. If it's not Aramaic, or if it's not Hebrew, stop using it. Very little. And I try to, like that thing with what you just saw with everything 86, 15, 31. It's there. What can you argue? And I make sure that there's nothing to argue before I put it in a video. No, but I get invitations to come and teach at their churches. So I don't have a lot of time to be writing and corresponding back and forth to one person. I'll sometimes make a comment that will hit everybody on the YouTube. But I do get invitations to come and speak at churches, and I've gotten really close with a lot of people. And that will be the second half of this talk when you see the mission side of what I do. And okay, next. I just got that yesterday, so I thought I'd throw it in because I read it. Okay, and here's one more Hebrew word, and this is God creates as God speaks. Now, you don't need to write this because this is going to be a lot. Just enjoy. Well, first of all, that's true. God creates as God speaks. If he says it, it happens, right? This is why I picture Jesus walking along the Sea of Galilee, and he said, follow me. And they dropped their nets and followed him. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Can you even imagine? Like, who are you? You want me to what? If I said to somebody, follow me, they're not going to drop their nets and follow me. But he's God, right? If he'd have said, tap dance, they would have tap danced. They couldn't have not tap danced. He creates as he speaks. Correct? Okay. Next. Oh, my goodness. No problem. This is just... Here's the first four letters of this big word up here. Aleph, Bet, Resh, Aleph. You see it? Don't be scared. Aleph, we already said was God, right? Because we're doing here God creates. Look at the next word, the next three. It's a Bet, Resh, Aleph. Bet, Resh, Aleph. That's bara. Bara means created. It's the second word of the Bible. Bereshit bara. In the beginning created Elohim, God. Okay? And what is bara? Bara is a bet, the second letter. Bet is a house. Resh is a head. Who's the head of the house? The son. And then we have an Aleph. Aleph is God again. The word bara means, broken down, as Son of God. Right? That kind of lets you know that Yeshua is the Creator and He's the Son of God, the Bar Aleph. So, translating half this word, we have God, bara, God creates. Yep. Next. Now, here's the kaf in the middle. Kaf is used in Hebrew for the word as or like. Okay? It was as hot as the sun. It was as hot ka the sun. You put a ka in the middle there. Ka means like or as. Okay? So that's the as part of this word. Next. And now we have the last 4-digit letters, which is dabar. Dabar means to speak. Okay? It's, or the word, speak. Devarim is the 5th book of the Bible, Deuteronomy. It's the words. Devarim. Okay? Dabar is speak. It's a dalet, a bet, and a resh. And then you have a final aleph. Aleph is God again. And it doesn't matter whether you put the verb and then the noun, or the noun and then the verb. Okay? For example, you could say, God creates, or creates God. It doesn't matter which one comes first. In Genesis 1:1, it's Bereshit bara Elohim. In the beginning, creates God. But you could have also said Bereshit Elohim bara. You can put the noun first or the verb first. Good? Okay. So at the beginning, we had the aleph first, right? We had the aleph, and then we had bara. And here we're putting the speaks first. Dabar, Okay? Next. So here's the whole word. You can break it down. That's God. Bara, that's creates. And then there's the ka, as. God creates as. Speaks God. Dabar, Right? Or we can say it quickly. Abracadabra. Gotcha. But you know what? That's where it came from, right? The magician's going to say, what? Abracadabra. God creates as God speaks, and the flowers appear on the sleeve. Okay? But that's when you're saying abracadabra, that's what you're saying. Thank you. Leave them laughing. Okay. This concludes part 1. We're going to take 3 or 4 minutes so she can shut this down and then start it back up on the live feed, because we don't want to live feed the next part. Okay.